Namaskar. Hello and welcome to 𝗣𝗚𝘅 channel. I'm your host Sree Iyer. Joining me now is Shekhar Iyer as we take a look at some very fast-moving developments in and around India. So first, let's welcome Shekhar Iyer. Shekhar ji, namaskar and welcome to 𝗣𝗚𝘅 channel.
Namaskar, Sree Iyer, namaskar. Nice to be back. Indeed, there are several things happening, several headlines appearing at such a fast pace, confusing all the political players as to what's on cards next week. Soon after the G20 gets over, G20 is on September 9th and 10th, but Delhi is gearing up. There are traffic restrictions, dress rehearsals, commandos carrying out hostage rescue drills, whatnot, because they want to take care of all the heads of state who are arriving. Of course, Putin has not coming. Probably he'll send his foreign minister. Xi Jinping has also not confirmed his arrival. He will be probably sending his prime minister. But other than that, all other leaders are expected. And Russia has come with a new demand that unless you accommodate the Russian views on the resolution of the Ukraine conflict, which would also, go into the cause of that conflict, they would not allow G20 to adopt any statement on Ukraine. So that's the thing on which the diplomats are working. But it's actually more about the politics of the country that has got quite, stirred up because of the sudden calling of a special session. And there's so many speculations why it has been called. Of course, we had the optics of a dot alliance in Mumbai. We'll talk about that, Shreyas.
Yes, indeed. And Shekhar ji, before we go into all that stuff, I just wanted to finish a couple of things. There are a series of G20 meetings taking place all over the country now. And these are all members of various countries. What I'm hearing recurring again and again is China is needlessly nitpicking and trying to somehow make sure that nothing of substance come out by the way of resolution for all these meetings. Is it true, sir?
Yeah, indeed. And also, I think our intelligence are picking up some activity on the disputed border also, because yesterday we saw Indian Air Force carry out some military drills. All our fighters were airborne in that area, saying that they were doing some kind of a reconnaissance and gearing up, because it's there are apprehension that will China try to do something that will take away focus from the G20 in Delhi. So that's why our forces are on full alert. There are more than 100,000 soldiers on either side of the border there. Of course, we have kept stationed our men, material, machines, tanks, huge transport, whatnot. They continue to be there, and we are headed for a winter. So you can imagine the kind of efforts that are being put there to ensure China doesn't do something to snatch the headlines of, because I think China is beginning to realize that it is getting isolated when it comes to a multilateral forum like G20. But from the government side, I see that there is a lot of enthusiasm. They are already talking about this whole effort has been the last few months to showcase India, not just New Delhi, the capital, but also the various places where these more than 200 meetings were held in different states. Because what the Prime Minister has been telling these officials is this is one opportunity for us to show India to them, and for others also to see what India is actually today. What are its capabilities? What are its inbuilt talents? What the people of India are. I think that's the other side. But then, there are the fact that Air Force carried out drills and continue to carry out drills. A lot of reconnaissance activity in the air there, which means we are prepared for anything that will just be a diversionary tactics, maybe a clash or maybe some incursion. That's why things looks like we have to be on the guard. And of course, anti-terrorist squads are on, and in fact the Delhi police has advised people of Delhi not to venture out, because today, Saturday, tomorrow too, there will be what is called motorcade drills. I mean, if 20 heads of state are descending in Delhi and they'll be traveling from their hotels to the summit venue in Pragati Maidan, so what kind of drills are necessary, how the motorcade would go, what kind of protection will be needed. Actually, there are more than 1,000 paramilitary forces already deployed, but I believe Some commandos have also been requisitioned from the army, from Air Force, also to be on guard in Delhi.
Thank you so much, Shekhar ji. That was the preparation for the G20 summit that's going to take place days from now. Now, let us take a quick look at the special parliamentary session that the Modi government has convened. Any amount of speculation will not give us the exact answer, but we think we know a few things that are going to happen. And let us listen from, let us hear Shekhar Iyer ji trot out a few things that we think are going to be discussed in this special session, sir. Over to you.
Yes, Sree Iyer ji, everything happened so quickly. The opposition initially tried to dismiss it as some kind of a headline management by the government by announcing a special session when the alliance was meeting in Mumbai. So first, the talk was a special session has been called beginning with September the 18th, which happens to be Vinayak Chaturthi. And that's a good date for an first session in the building. The building itself, the new parliament building. The building has been inaugurated. Well, if the Vinayak Chaturthi is a day to hold the first sitting, that would be a very auspicious start. But then the opposition was very upset, particularly leaders from Maharashtra saying, this is the time we celebrate Vinayak Chaturthi, at our homes. We bring Ganesh home. How can our MPs leave their festivities and come to Delhi? Well, the fact is, whether it's coincidental or there is a planning. So right from the whole day yesterday, it started with this talk of a special session. In fact, the day before yesterday, and it started with the special session talk. And then, what is the agenda? Then, a balloon was floated. I do not know, it was from the official side, but it was further fanned by the opposition actually. It's about one nation, one poll concept that the Prime Minister has been talking about since 2018. So people start saying, and particularly the opposition went hammer and tongs. What kind of discussions you have done? Have you evolved the conventions? Have you looked into the problem? How can you have a one nation, one poll concept? And that too, you want to get those necessary laws passed in parliament. But then finally, when a committee was announced under Ramnath Kovind, then I think they realized in India, as they say, when we do not want to do anything in haste, we set up a committee. So therefore, but it's very interesting that the former president was approached and gave consent also. And today, the composition of the committee itself is very interesting. You have Ramnath Kovind, the former president, as chairman. You have Home Minister Amit Shah. Then you have the leader of the Congress party in Lok Sabha, Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary. Then you have Ghulam Nabi Azad, the former leader of the opposition in the Rajya Sabha. Then you have N.K. Singh, former finance secretary and former chairman of the Finance Commission. And then you have 𝗒𝙗₻ Kashyap. For those who have covered parliament long, he was the former Secretary General Lok Sabha, very well versed in constitutional law, parliamentary practices. Then you have Sanjay Kothari, who was the former Chief Vigilance Commissioner. And of course, the last big name was Harish Salve, the constitutional lawyer who has often appeared for government in several sensitive cases. So this is the composition of the team. It's going to take a time, and there are several problems. But more than this one poll, one thing, the latest buzz here is that there could be a proposal to amend the constitution as to the first article, which starts with India, that is Bharat, the Article 1 of the Constitution of India. So they may drop the word India and call it Bharat, because this is the new parliament building is supposed to put an end to the colonial legacy. So, and India was a name given by the British to us. We are Bharat or Bharadam or Bharata. So why should we have this India name? Now, if this is going to be the move, which means the opposition will have to first change their name. This alliance, India, I.N.D.I.A. which was actually acronym thought of so that they can keep saying India versus Modi, India versus Modi. But this is being talked about. And the reason why they're talking about, because only a day earlier, RSS chief, rather RSS Sangh Mohan Bhagwat came with this thing that we should stop using the word India. At least we should keep saying Bharat. So this is the new bus that has, for 5 days it's meeting. But from what I've gathered from various sources, Sree Iyer ji, Well, if you're looking at what Modiji would do in terms of a game changer plan, well, it could be the Women's Reservation Bill. I got to hear from the Parliamentary Affairs Ministry sources also that it could be this Women's Reservation Bill. Incidentally, Sree Iyerji, this Women's Reservation Bill was passed in the Rajya Sabha under the UPA regime in 2010, but could not muster support from UPA's allies itself, particularly the male-dominated parties of and so-called the Mandal parties. Actually, they were dead opposed to this being reservation means even where do we find women leaders, because they have never encouraged women in their parties. So particularly the Rashtriya Janata Dal, Samajwadi Party, Janata Dal, all these parties have not been in favor of women reservation bill. And if you remember, this idea, the thought itself was conceived right in 96 when and it was conceived when in 96 when Devagowda was there. There Mulayam Singh put his foot down. Subsequently, the matter came in Atalji's time. And if you remember, when Law Minister Thambidurai brought wanted to introduce the bill in the House, here RJD MP walked up to him and snatched the bill from his hand and tore it up. Then came the UPA period. UPA period in 2010, Sonia Gandhi insisted, because Sonia has always taken it as an important political agenda for her, for her to convey the message that how much they care for they care for women. So a bill was moved. It was passed in the Rajya Sabha. In fact, the passage of the bill in Rajya Sabha, Sonia Gandhi was so happy. She celebrated it with a dinner at her home, where she invited women parliamentarians and women journalists too in 2010. But again, there was a problem in the Lok Sabha. The House was not allowed to function when they wanted to introduce the bill, particularly Samajwadi Party and all these other Mandal parties. They stood on the bench. They did not allow the legislation. And finally, UPA gave up. Now, that is where we stand. So, and Sree Iyerji, interestingly, whenever Sonia has got a chance to face-to-face meeting with Prime Minister Modi, she has always asked about women's bill. Even in the last session, when Modi ji came around for a customary namaste at the start of the monsoon session, the first thing she asked, when are you bringing women's reservation bill? So if it is the women's reservation bill, it's going to be a big changer and also may cause a divide in the opposition alliance, because parties like RJD and JDU, because for them it's very difficult. That's why they have been talking of caste-based census so that they can revive, or what they call Mandal 3.0. The caste-based concept itself, have a survey, harden the caste feelings again, then play on those caste numbers and seek more quota for them. Then there will be clashes. Then you can claim the upper castes are against them. But the problem this time may not be just about upper caste. If within the OBC itself, if one community is shown as having a larger representation, then how are you going to accommodate a greater representation for them? It's a very complicated idea. But incidentally, Rahul Gandhi is backing, though both his father Rajiv Gandhi and his grandmother Indira Gandhi were opposed to caste-based politics. But if it's women reservation bill, it's going to, Congress may not find it, cannot oppose it, because Sonia Gandhi has written several letters. Now, similarly, Mamata for herself, well, she has always had more women MPs among her lot in parliament, but she may also be worried about the minority votes, because having women MPs does not go down with that section of voters who feel that this is unnecessarily creating an imbalance in their family equations, and then like triple talaq, like the opposition to triple talaq, you'll have clerics talking against it. So if it's women reservation bill, it's going to be even bigger game changer.
Sir, in our country, in the United States, there is a term for it. I'm not saying anyone is that, male chauvinist pigs. So we'll wait and see how that plays out. Sir, the more important thing here is, if they do introduce a reservation bill for women, and let us say 30%, I think, is on the card.
33%.
33%. So 1 in 3. So 1 in 3. So 171 or 172 MPs will be women. That would be great, sir. I hope they have enough toilets and other facilities in the new parliament building that takes care of all these things.
New parliament,
Makeup
no
rooms
problem.
too.
No, no,
Makeup rooms too.
no, that should not be a problem. But sir, in terms of Prime Minister has been talking about empowerment of women. You saw it. He went even at the ISRO after the Chandrayaan launch. He had a special audience with the women scientists in ISRO, numbering 200 scientists, women scientists. From the Red Fort, when he spoke on August 15th, he talked about need for more empowerment of women, giving a bigger role for them in various sectors. Because he said, if you involve women more and more, even the impossible will become possible. That's the exact quote he said from Red Fort. So the Prime Minister is very keen that message goes. The BJP's political calculation is, look, when you talk of women, because women as an oppressed lot, and that will include women belonging to all communities, to all castes, and you need to have gender parity, and that has to start with the parliament level, and the legislation that is being thought of would not only include parliament, it include the assemblies, and so that you have an arrangement right from Zilla, because already there is reservation at the Gram Panchayat level. Like Bihar has 50% reservation. Several states have representation at the lower, at the self government level, at local self government level. So it's question of Vidhan Sabha and the state assemblies and the parliament. So we are going to see a very interesting debate again. But then, sir, times have changed from 96 to 2023, from 2010 to 2023, lot has happened. Lot of water has flown down, even our Yamuna in Delhi. So you can well see that these parties will have to recalibrate, the response, because this is something going to divide even hopes. If the talk of more women empowerment comes, I do not know how the men folks, whether they are in politics or not, going to deal with what the women at home would say. Why not? Why not give more representation? So this is going to be very, very interesting. Now, how fast it will happen? Now, questions are being asked whether the constituencies will have to be delimited, because in the 2010 legislation that was passed by Rajya Sabha, it talked of rotation. The constituencies, the reserved constituencies would keep rotating. If that is the case, what will be the member of parliament's interest once get elected to nurture his constituency or her constituency, because next time it may not be the same constituency. So there are issues in that, but it looks like right now the agenda, in fact, the official notification for the special session has not been made. All that was given officially was there will be a special session. That resulted in this, but that has brought a lot of gloom in the opposition camp. We saw in Mumbai that despite their optics, of course, we will talk about it later as to what all has happened in Mumbai and why somebody is happy, somebody is very unhappy. We'll talk about it. But the fact that they met for 2 days, but the first day's talk was about special session, second day talk was about one nation, one poll. The opposition feels cheated that they wanted eyeballs, and but instead all they got was this lot of balloons going up in the air by way of issues.
Shekharji, the last part of our conversation today, Mamta Didi ko gussa kyun aata hai, and that too at her own coalition members. What happened, sir?
Sir, in Patna, Arvind Kejriwal did not turn up because Congress he wanted to put a gun on the head of the Congress and say, you support me on the services bill, then I will come. At that time, Congress didn't want to submit to that kind of blackmail or whatever political pressure tactics or whatever. But when it came to Bengaluru, we saw all the leaders were present, but they all absented themselves in the public appearance. The joint thing, they all stand together. So in Bengaluru, you saw Nitish and Lalu skipping the press conference. And
they had a flight to catch.
They had a flight to catch, which that too they were on a private aircraft. And you had
sir, this is like remember Karunanidhi's claim to fame was that he lay himself down on railway tracks, but he made sure that no train was going to go on that railway track before he lay down on those tracks.
Sir, in Bengaluru, Nitish did not appear, and Nitish was miffed because there was no announcement on convenorship, and we were, of course, as usual, the denials came. Nitish, after 2-3 days, after he allowed the speculation, after thing had ended, no, I am not after any post. Now, what do we see in Mumbai? Now it's turned up Mamata. Mamata left early. She refused to attend the press conference. And sir, in that group photo options, we saw Arvind Kejriwal missing his steps and other, Farooq Abdullah and somebody trying to hold him in that photo options also.
Yes,
So
yes, yes, yes.
you would have seen that. Now, why did Mamata, got upset? What I'm told, I've learned from Trinamool sources. Mamata has been upset for the last 3-4 days because there is a by-election coming up in Bengal, and you have had Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary, the leader of the Congress in Lok Sabha, and who is also the Pradesh Congress Committee chief, Bengal PCC. He is the head. He has been sharing joint platforms with Mohammad Salim, who is the secretary of the CPM in West Bengal, and both have been going hammer and tongs at Mamata. And adding to their company is the Indian Secular Front, which was started by that cleric Siddiqui. And the candidate in this by-election is Dungri, is the name of that constituency, and the candidate is a CPM candidate. Mamata is livid. How can Congress come to and ask me for seat sharing in the Lok Sabha election and stand with the left party when I made it clear I will not do business with left? Because in 2011, I vanquished that 3 decades of rule, more than 3 decades of communist rule, and I came. Now, how can I have an arrangement with, yes, BJP may be the opposition, main opposition, but I have made it very clear I will not have any truck with the Congress in Bengal if they do this. Now, she was so upset, particularly of the criticism, and Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary has been constantly talking about, what has happened during the Panchayat elections. So, we saw Mamata on August 31st, that is the first day of that India Alliance. She dispatched her nephew, that is Abhishek Banerjee, to Delhi. And he had an early audience with Rahul Gandhi where he conveyed Mamata's anger at what the Congress in Bengal is doing, and virtually made a demand that you have to get Adhir Ranjan out and stop this cozying up to left in Bengal. Otherwise, I am not going to do that. I don't know what kind of response Congress gave, but the fact that Mamata was so upset, and then, sir, when she landed in Bombay, when she came to know that on August 31st evening, Rahul Gandhi held a press conference in that venue of that alliance meeting and attacked Adani using the report that appeared in Guardian and Financial Times as to money being routed through the Mauritius, money going from here and then again coming back as investment to influence the company's shares. Now, Mamata's contention was, you are free to criticize Adani, no problem. But without consulting us at an opposition meeting, you are doing this. Of course, people all
Essentially,
know very
she
well.
wanted to be in that conference. Essentially, she wanted to be in that conference,
No,
and
sir,
she was
but she will
deprived
not
of it.
attack Gautam Adani because she has met Adani in Calcutta. She has been calling him. And Gautam Adani has been quite liberal with whatever help he can do for Trinamool Congress in Bengal in terms of resources or other kind of support. And the funniest part, or the contradictions one can say, is Ashok Gehlot recently had an agreement even after the Hindenburg report. He invited Gautam Adani to Jaipur, and there were some agreements for Adani investment in Rajasthan. He even wrote a letter to Chhattisgarh Chief Minister Bhupesh Baghel recommending Adani for some projects there. And we all know how close Adani and Kamal Nath, who is their chief ministerial candidate in Madhya Pradesh, which is headed for elections. And Kamal Nath and Adani go back to the long days when Kamal Nath was in charge of creating the separate economic zones. And Adani's growth story is connected with the Congress growth story of that period. And Mauritius route, Sree Iyer, we all know, they go back to the days when Chidambaram was finance minister, and also when Yashwant Sinha is credited with this Mauritius route. And several companies have used Mauritius route. It is not just Adani. If you are going to single out one particular industrialist or one particular industrial group, it's a very odd thing because there are several involved. And also, Shree, I mean, I don't know if it's pure coincidence, this appearing of these reports in these Western media. They came exactly 2 days after the reports we saw in India of SEBI seeking investigation into companies that benefited from short selling. I mean, which was related to the Hindenburg report publication, which means, in very, very layman's terms, They bought shares knowing well in advance an adverse report is coming in Edinburgh, by Edinburgh, and so that they can make a killing by selling it just before the reports come. So they started identifying the companies, and some of these companies are linked to the rival companies, which I do not wish to name them here. So there is some work going on, and then you have this report saying there is a Mauritius route. And Adani's prompt response was, this is a recycling of the old charges. We have responded. We have responded to the regulators. And in Tamil, as they say, arachamave arakir. The same idli dough that you make, you again put it in the mixer and regrind it. So then you can neither make idli or nor make dosa with that kind of dough which has been rerun, because it becomes like a paste, like your toothpaste. Now, so the whole thing is, Sharad Pawar had made it clear last time, do not single out a particular industrialist. That is not the way we do it ever. And he had held a press conference. He had given interviews also. Now, Rahul Gandhi made it a point to repeat all the allegations, claiming there is a proximity between Prime Minister and Adani. And he also again demanded a joint parliamentary committee probe, which Sharad Pawar said, no JPC, no needed, not at all needed. So you have Congress leaders who are beholden to Adani for whatever help they have received in the course of their politics and electioneering. On that's one hand, you have leaders like Mamata who say that their friendship with Gautam Adani has a lot to do with getting investments in West Bengal. I do not know which company will take such a big risk to go to West Bengal at this juncture, given the climate that is prevailing there. So therefore, this Adani issue virtually, but Rahul Gandhi kept at it. I mean, he knowing very well that they are unhappy. And sir, interestingly, the press conference venue was in the same hotel, the same place where the India Alliance meeting was taking place, and you had that press conference the final day with that joint address by several leaders. Now that timing was postponed thrice, and I am told Jairam Ramesh was, and even there was a communication gap between Rahul Gandhi and Jairam Ramesh, because first they said 3 p.m., 4 p.m., 5 p.m. It kept on postponing, and finally Rahul came. Because I was told some Congress leaders were trying to suggest to Rahul Gandhi, look, this Adani issue is too hot. It could, unnecessarily create. Now, Mamata is also upset with two other things, which is what I gather from Trinamool people. One, she is upset that Congress chief ministers have openly started talking about Rahul as the prime minister candidate of the alliance. She says, we have not discussed this. Why do leaders at the chief minister level talk about it? If this is the case, then of course, I did mention in my Bengaluru meeting, as Mamata put it, that in our states we can say that one of us could be the prime minister candidate. That Mamata in Bengal can say, look, we are going to. And she says this is the reason why posters are being put up in West Bengal, saying that she is a prime minister candidate. Same thing is happening in Nitish Kumar's Patna, where JDU leaders on record giving television interview saying, who else but Nitish Kumar? Sir, ultimately, finally, when what came out of that was 3 resolutions. And those 3 resolutions did not say anything new, excepting saying that we are together to get rid of Modi and BJP from power. Second resolution spoke about how we are going to try, quote unquote, as far as possible, seat adjustment. That means, again, no big national level kind of talks are possible because of difficulty. I thought that was a very candid statement, because when you are using a term like as far as possible, that means you are aware of the difficulties, the pitfalls, the hesitation in which regional parties would be willing to accommodate a party like Congress. Now, the third aspect is that they will hold rallies, public meetings, and try to set a narrative against the Prime Minister and the BJP. Now, what all expected was that Sonia Gandhi would be announced as the chairperson of this alliance. That did not happen. We were told there will be a announcements regarding vice chairperson. That it involved Mamata, Stalin, maybe Sharad Pawar. That did not happen. We were told there will be a convener, and Nitish Kumar is the most favorite to be considered. That did not happen. Now we gather it was Lalu himself who was opposed to Nitish being made the convener, saying no need of a national level convener, because once you name a convener, then he will be projected as a prime minister candidate, or he himself may start projecting as prime minister candidate. Now, I am told Lalu was opposed to even Nitish Kumar being appointed. Instead, they came with committees, one campaign and strategy committee and in which Pawar finds place in the strategy committee. Now, as we discussed in the last hangout, sir, there is a hesitation in the Congress to give any formal role for Sharad Pawar. He can be member of the committee. The fear is if you give him some position, vice chairperson, and tomorrow he says NCP, again says NCP has not split. Some of us have chosen to go and sit with BJP. And that kind of statement that harms the alliance image. They want to avoid that and not give him any position. Now, this time Mamata is very upset, and you can see how she left midway, a bit rather quite early. And on the other hand, nothing new has happened. The logo, sir, that is also another problem, because the logo, I am told Mamata was not happy with the way the logo was designed, with looking like some leaders and some parties getting prominence and others, because people probably looked at that poster that came out, that was put out by the Congress, which had Rahul Gandhi in the center and with Ravan's 10 heads on either side, five, this side, all other leaders in the descending order with, faces getting smaller and smaller. That is something they didn't like at all. And Mamata, I am told, didn't like the logo. Sir, apart from all this, I am told DMK participants at the meeting were unhappy with some of these young Congress leaders who have been acting a rough and short over them. They say, what is all this? Why do you behave like this? Because the names were sought for these committee names. DMK accepting TR Balu finding place in that main committee, the first committee. Other leaders were not named, but today the DMK names have come. But I am told that some of these DMK leaders even conveyed to Sonia Gandhi that some of these young Congress functionaries who are close to Rahul Gandhi they have been rude with them, as we see them rude on television.
Well, there is one more twist in this tale, and I wanted to share that with you folks. What I hear is that Mamata Didi was not happy with her seat, wherever that seating was, and she was asking around, where's my seat? Where's my seat? And we have a small clip for you to watch. Here we go.
You're putting me
Nobody wants to move. Nobody wants to move.
Please come, please come. Mehbooba, next.
He holds her hand. So that, I think, was the main reason, sir. This is a scoop
Sir,
of
this seat would have been forgiven if the Congress had not joined hands with communists there. that is why she did, as I described how. So you can see that, and Mamata is very unpredictable. But of course, now Trinamool people tell me that does not mean Mamata will walk out of the alliance, or she will just completely stop coming for the next meeting. Sir, even further meetings, one now next is supposed to be held in Delhi. It may not be the full, the full bench, rather all the leaders coming. It could be just these committees. But more than that, sir, what we are seeing is the progress is very slow. That is what Mamata also feels, that in each meeting you don't say anything new. You just you are taking a month to announce these committees, and next month you will probably announce a date from which the talks will start for seats, discussion of seats. So it's such a slow progress. One wonders as to, why is the hare running like a tortoise? It's not hare and tortoise, but hare is trying to run like tortoise.
Thank you so much, Shekhar-ji. And one other news item which is just breaking out is that Canada has put a pause in its free trade talks with India. This just broke out, and we'll give you more data in probably one of our hangouts tomorrow. Just wanted to give you that information. So this is not, one thing, one place. A lot of people are not happy with the way India is, essentially getting behind the Modi government, Bharatiya Janata Party. And guess what? If the first thing that you mentioned, sir, Article 1, India, is struck off, right? It starts with Bharat. That's going to really, really, make a lot of people, feel somehow that they are being deprived of a certain invisible hammer that you use to beat India with. So we'll wait and see how that goes. Sir, if you have anything to add, please feel free. Otherwise, we'll go to questions. A lot of questions are waiting to be asked.
No, sir, I'm ready for questions. We have touched upon all these things that have, made headlines, have created, a sort of discomfort for a lot of political leaders. Even on the ruling side, people are not aware as to what's on cards, and everybody waits for the G20 because till G20, you're not going to hear about the agenda. Of course,
Yes.
one can guess one agenda is clear. The first session that will take place on Vinaya Chaturthi Day in the new building will start with India being complimented for holding such a successful summit, G20 summit. That's one. Then for the Chandrayan's landing on moon, that is at a spot now that has been given Shivashakti, has been named Shivashakti. Third will be Aditya L, has taken off to study the sun. So that will also be mentioned for compliments to the ISRO scientists. Then you will have a resolution that will praise the way our athletes have performed in the World University Olympics, and particularly javelin hero, our Neeraj Chopra. So and also our Pragya, the chess wizard from Tamil Nadu. So these are going to be there. I mean, these compliments will be there, and apart from that, of course, the unstated agenda as of now.
Sir, they may also be praised for snatching a draw from the jaws of loss with Pakistan today, sir.
Yes, yes. Many of our viewers, our friends, are very, very disappointed. They thought there will be some excitement, but then that's the nature of cricket and nature of way our players perform sometimes.
Sir. BJP will claim victory, sir. They'll say Varun Bhagwan is on our side. We can command your Varun Bhagwan services at any point.
Sir, Varun Bhagwan is needed here. You have had the longest dry spell in
Well,
India.
if you start sending him to draw matches against Pakistan, he's very busy, sir.
That's a good one. That's a good one. That's a good one.
Let's go for questions, please. First question. Thank you so much, Bose Satamangalam, for becoming a YouTube member. Thank you, VR Chakravarti, for becoming a YouTube member. Thank you, Sushila ji, for your donation. First question from Seshadri Venkateswaran. P-Gurus is doing a great service by informing the intellectuals on various aspects of polity happening in India. The channel's publications are also of immense value. Wishing well. Thank you so much, Seshadri ji. Rahul Rathod wants to know, the Hindu Rashtra concept is actually a desire of people for cultural and civilization revivalism, and opposition and anti-Hindu ecosystem is failing to sense it. They are trapped in their own arrogance. Your thoughts, sir?
Well, Hindu Rashtra as a a theocratic concept. I'm not sure whether the BJP or even the RSS would like. That takes India towards a theocracy. I don't think that's exactly thinking. But what is being looked at is that we should respect our tradition, a tradition that belongs to Sanatan Dharma, and a tradition that is, people have even been avoiding the term Sanatan Dharma, rather calling it. In fact, at one stage, even BJP leaders say you can call it Bharatiyata. If you have difficulties calling it, it's because of Hindu traditions. So the whole idea is we respect our tradition. We move away from our colonial moorings. Now that we have completed 75 years since independence. So these are the thoughts, and exactly. But then, because of inability of these opposition leaders to appreciate, and also the inability, rather, I would say not inability, the stubborn refusal to acknowledge certain facts concerning our civilization, our inheritance, our heritage, has led to a situation where you feel if you acknowledge it, it means you are on the side of the Hindus. And there has been overemphasis on the medieval period, the contribution of that period as to its art and architecture. Well, we have a syncretic culture. so many people have come and gone. And as Abdul Kalam used to say, we didn't have a deterrent for 5,000 years. I mean, till we had Pokhran 2. That's what former President Abdul Kalam used to say. Therefore, we have had several people come and go. Some invaders have treated us like doormats. But today, India is in a different stage, in a different trajectory, where it wants to appreciate and value what you have, what has come to us as that bequeathed to us. And we are looking forward as also a modern country, a country that embraces modern approach, modern technology, and modern ways of doing things. Sir, even look at this controversy that has been brewing in the last few days. Because ISRO scientists, go to the temple before and after a launch, and they consider Tirupati Venkatachalapati as the Kshetrapal. Because Kshetrapal means before any project, they go there, make prayers, and both before and after a launch. They believe that such a thing gives them some kind of a moral boost, and also it makes them feel that the projects will be successful, and they say projects have been successful. This time too, before Aditya project, we saw Somnath, the ISRO chairman, personally going to Durga temple in Thiruvananthapuram and offering prayers, which is probably his family deity or so. So you can see that, and ISRO chairman has been saying, look, I look at space exploration is something akin to an inner exploration, which as an individual, we always want to know, who am I, from whence I came, where do I go, what is this life, what is existence, what is this consciousness, what is that consciousness that is pervading everywhere. So these are concepts like Brahman and matter and science and energy, several concepts that have been often talked about, written about, mentioned in our scriptures. And ISRO scientists, I mean, I'm glad to see scientists are having an open mind as to appreciate the indications that are coming from our ancient scriptures and trying to see how the modern science is also looking at energy and matter. Not just Albert Einstein, who talked about energy, the relation between matter and energy. There have been others who have been talking about it. So that is why even the name given Shiva Shakti, we have had people criticizing it, saying, why you are giving a Hindu name, without realizing that Shiva Shakti concept. We have temples for, Ardhanarishwara. So you can see that the male-female principle, a principle that is in operation in every individual. That's what our Advaitic concepts talk about. So you can see that Hindu Rashtra, again coming back to the question of Hindu Rashtra, you had Kamal Nath the other day, answering this question, saying, what do you need to even call it Hindu Rashtra? It is Hindu Rashtra. Much to the, uncomfortableness of other leaders, and Rahul Gandhi, I'm sure, would not be not at all happy with how Kamal Nath has turned the full Hanuman Bhakt, and he wants to show that he is not a Chunavi Hindu like others are.
Chunavi Hindu, that's a nice name. Magnet Ranga wants to know, Namaskar, the DITS group or the DOTS group is trying to show that their alliance is all hunky-dory, but it isn't a gross giveaway that they haven't been able to get a PM candidate, convener, logo, etc.
Absolutely, sir. They won't get either a PM candidate or a convener logo until even when the elections come, because these are very, very touchy subjects, particularly the prime minister candidate. I think they have decided not to go into it at all. What they are trying at best is, they had promised to come together only because they wanted to ensure there is one candidate put up against the BJP nominee or an NDA nominee in as many constituencies as possible. First, they talked of 400 constituencies, if not 543. But I do not know, you're already seeing regional players are willing to even consider inch when it comes to seat sharing.
They've all tasted blood, sir, and for them to be relevant, they need in their backyard entire seats for themselves. This is where the self-defeating conundrum comes. Congress wants to be able to be in the pole position, which means they need to be able to win from states like West Bengal, which TMC will be, not, willing to give up. Same problem in Maharashtra, same problem in Tamil Nadu, the same problem everywhere Congress is in. So these are all inherent contradictions that are not going to take them forward. In fact, you look at three major opposition-run government, people have stayed away. Chandrasekhar Rao, Jagan Mohan Reddy, as well as Naveen Patnaik. So you have a lot of people still sitting it out and waiting to see what happens. So there are a lot of contradictions, Much water needs to flow under the bridge, and then only we'll know what's going to happen. Tyagarajan Shankaran wants to know, please let me know how to send my contributions to your channel. Well, you can click on the super thanks, I think, or super chat when it is live to essentially contribute. You can see a lot of people contributing. The other thing is you can become a member, start with the lowest tier, and then you can work your way up if you like it. Also, you can go paypal.me/pgurus. You can see there, or you can also do using super thanks. There are many ways to do this thing. You can see the scrolling text. In fact, we are putting it all the time. Hopefully you can catch it and you can enter those things and you can pay for it. Next question, please. Pawan Kishore wants to know, INC and RaGa have renewed their attack on Adani, but the members in 𝗏𝗏𝘅 gang have difference of opinion in this regard. Can they get into a consensus? Where is their unity stand?
Sir, on Adani, I don't think any consensus is possible, because even after Rahul spoke yesterday, no other leader echoed those comments. They did come and say, look, the Prime Minister should come clean, or whatever, where the role Rahul spoke. So Rahul seems to be a lone voice against Adani, and it looks like some kind of a personal targeting of the Prime Minister rather than an issue. This is what Mamata is opposed. This is what Sharad Pawar is opposed. And sir, a political party to just target one person, one industrialist. I mean, Indira Gandhi did it with Birla and Tata. That was at a time when she had taken a left swing. I had heard her rallies. Every rally would end with saying that how capitalists are ruining this country. There would be three people whom she would abuse. One would be the United States of America. The second would be Birla's. The third would be Tata's. Or it could be in reverse order also.
Next question, please. Prakash KR wants to know, what is your view on how Bharat has been handling challenges posed by China?
Well, I do not share the views of particularly Rahul Gandhi that India has, India allowed this to happen, that India has succumbed to Chinese pressure. No, I don't think so. We have responded militarily, and China knows that we are not going to concede when it comes to all these disputed places. Yes, we are ready for talks. We saw in Johannesburg, China insisted on a formal talks between President Xi Jinping and Prime Minister Modi. It was very, very clear to the Chinese side, look, if you need to have a formal talks, then there has to be some forward movement showing that we are closer to a settlement of the border dispute. There is a joint working group which has been set up long ago. They have not had very regular meetings. And we had an Army Corps Commanders Conference. Recently, they met at Eastern Ladakh and the Ladakh sector, and where it was agreed that talks should continue. Of course, Chinese position is that these lines were drawn arbitrarily by McMahon. That's why it's called the McMahon line. And that is why we have had these problems, and today it's called line of actual control. So the disputes are there, but then the dadagiri of China has been now called out by all the countries. Whether it is ASEAN, whether it is Japan, you have Quad set up, in which India is also a member. Everybody realizes that, look, this dadagiri by China, refusing to accept international laws, international norms. So therefore, each country they are trying to see how to deal with this dadagiri. That's the reason why increasingly countries are coming together. Just because China had such a huge, surplus in balance of trade, because they were exporting a lot, that gave them that kind of a capital muscle. And countries have also fallen into the debt trap, whether it is Nepal, Sri Lanka, or Pakistan with the China-Pakistan economic corridor. Everybody has realized that to do with business with China is quite risky, even countries which don't have a border dispute. So therefore, when you take all these account, and then if you ask me whether this government, well, I will say all the governments have inherited the problem since 1962. First the Nehru's overconfidence in his personal equation with Zhou Enlai. You have the Panchsheel, then you have 𝗎𝗎𝘐𝗎 𝗎𝗎𝘐, and then what happened in 62? How our forces were ill-equipped. We know that history. But Rahul Gandhi refuses to acknowledge that what has happened of late on this disputed border is not something that has happened now in these last decade. These things have happened long before. And I do not know how, with such a straight face, he can just accuse one government, the present government, of for the present situation when his grandfather's own contribution remains.
Sir, his own,
So,
sir. He signed something in 2008. He's still not said what he
absolutely.
signed.
I don't know what is
So,
preventing those agreements being coming out in public.
yes.
What is
I
so
think that will
secretive
be
about
one more. That will be one more coup that the Modi government will do. They will present that thing at some point of time. That's what I expect, sir. We'll see.
it? Maybe closer to the elections.
Yes, yes, yes. Do you expect? Chakravarti wants to know. VR Chakravarti wants to know. Do you expect a lot of opposition to the proposal to remove the name India? It is actually a masterstroke to take the wind out of the sails of the Dot Alliance.
Sir, if they do, they are going to land in greater soup, because that will also become a campaign point. That why is all these opposition parties clicking to an Anglo-Saxon concept of Bharat? Britishers gave us, called us Indus, Indica, and India. So I think, and if they don't, it will appear they have gone with the government. And above all, if the change actually happens, then they have to change the name of their alliance. Sir, even we know when the name was given, India Alliance in Patna, there was a lot, people were unhappy. Even, I mean, in Bengaluru, you saw even Nitish Kumar was not happy. He said, how do we explain in our Matrubhasha, in the interiors of Bihar, India Alliance hai, India Alliance hai, kya hai? I mean, many people, even Uddhav Thackeray suggested we should somewhere bring in Bharat also. That is why they brought that thing, India Alliance that jeetega hi Bharat.
Trying to cover themselves a little bit. Yes. Next one,
Yes.
please. Thank you, Krishna. If joint session of parliament is called, then BJP has enough majority to pass UCC bill and recall Waqf Act or any bill. Hope BJP calls it joint session. Your thoughts?
Well, it's a strategy if you find that there is a problem. But I think the government would first try to introduce such a legislation in each house separately and go through that. See, only if the bill gets stuck. But I'm not too sure if this Uniform Civil Code and these are exactly on a fast track to be presented. Whether they would come up in the special session, I doubt very much.
Narayan P wants to know one simple question. Is it possible that there won't be any session after the special parliament session? Directly a vote on account before general election, can it be possible?
So, well, all these opposition leaders have been talking of an early election, that the Lok Sabha would be dissolved and they would go to polls with November, December. That is when the elections will take place for Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh, and Telangana, and Mizoram too. Now, I have said it earlier and I say it again. I do not see why Prime Minister Modi would call an early election. Why would he want to cut short his tenure? Opposition thinks, they repeated it yesterday also in Mumbai, that kuch bhi ho, and Nitish was also saying kuch bhi ho sakta hai, kabhi bhi churav aa sakta hai, anytime elections can come. But I doubt it, because as I said earlier, if at all there is a personal agenda of the Prime Minister, he would like to be known as the Prime Minister who brought a lot of changes in India, brought up a lot of positive development, who fast-tracked growth, who brought a lot of relief to the poor section. That's how he'd like to go down in history. In that way, the case, he would want his tenure to be the longest, without a break. Jawaharlal Nehru had 17 years in office until death took him away from us. Or he would have continued even maybe for another 10 years. So, if Prime Minister Modi would like to break that record of being the longest Prime Minister, why would he cut short the session? And sir, in the BJP, Prime Minister particularly, there is no lack of confidence. Because what the opposition alliance trying to say that बस घबरा गया, BJP घबरा है, Prime Minister डरे हुए हैं, कोई डरा वरा नहीं है. What the Prime Minister desire is that the mandate should come with a 50% vote. He has set a target and he has been telling in internal meetings, we will come back, but we need to come back with a larger percentage of vote so that we get out of this accusation that we came to power with just 32% vote or 37% vote or as best 40% votes, that the 60% are against us. Because Rahul also mentioned it in Mumbai yesterday. He said people who have gathered here, the parties who gathered here represent 60% of people. BJP is only 40%. That is BJP 37% and allies making 40%. That is something Prime Minister would want BJP to create an electoral record saying that it got 50% of votes, because parties of in the last few decades, no party has got 50% vote to come to power in Delhi.
Very true. Very true. Next one, please. Anshuman Singh wants to know, sir, do these dynastic parties really think we are in the 90s, that they say people won't know, like Kerala Congress insulting Hindus and Mamata refusing Tilak? I mean, they live in their own bubble and it's 2023.
Well, people are aware how these parties have been behaving when it comes to a particular religion and when it comes to Hindu religion. Everybody, DMK included. And their definition of secularism applies only to certain denominations, not for others. If they do it, it is secularism. That's why there is a joke about secularism, and Adani ji had coined the term pseudo-secularism. And today, sir, people are also saying it was in the emergency that secularism word was introduced in the preamble of the Constitution. What, along with removal of India from the Article 1 of the Constitution, this government decides to amend the preamble also and do away with terms like socialist. Of course,
Yeah.
socialist in English and Hindi have different political connotation. Because when you say Samajwadi ka shabd ko hatana hai, then there will be hue and cry saying this government wants to favor the capitalists, wants to favor the rich. But then these words have made no relevance, because who is Samajwadi today, sir? All the Samajwadi leaders or people who claim to live by socialist principles, they ride big cars, have great holidays, including even the Samajwadi Party, which claims its inspiration from Raman or Lohia. They are all well-to-do people, and you can see their members of parliament or their leaders are doing very well.
Well, one must mention here that Mr. Akhilesh Yadav, when he was forced to vacate the place that he was staying as a chief minister, he broke a lot of things such as ceramic tiles in many rooms before he left. Very, very bad way to do this thing. You are the chief minister of a state, the most populous state of India. Is that how you set an example? Shame on you. Next one, please.
That is what is called deplumbing. Some people took away showers also.
Subramanian Vishwanathan wants to know, DMK talks about anti-Brahmin, anti-Hindi, but they align with Sanatanis for votes as suggested by Brahmin Bihari BK. That is whatever his name is. PK, I think. Prashant Kishore.
I think he wants Prashant Kishore.
What should BJP strategy against this?
Well, the BJP's approach is Sarva Hindu Samaj. I mean, the RSS has been constantly saying that if you want to bring good changes in India, you will have to take the Hindu Samaj into account. RSS has been in the forefront of, right from the inception, against caste system. The RSS founder, Hegdewar, he was against caste concept. That's why in the RSS, they never ask caste of any person. That is totally against. And they believe in community kitchen, they believe in community dining. So this has been, so the whole idea is that Hindu as a society must be united and fight the evils that has bedeviled it for centuries. Because unless you strengthen Hindu society and you fight against the discrimination of the so-called lower caste, Indian society as such cannot move forward. So in terms, that's a BJP approach too, that BJP believes that India's best interests are protected when you take care of Hindus and also value our tradition. So DMK's issue is, this Brahmin bashing which they continue to do. You can see it. They continued the channel, the kind of debates they run, thinking that it's an attack on BJP. Then little do they realize that BJP today is not a Brahmin party or a Baniya party. In fact, if anybody has internalized the Mandal, it would be BJP. Today, they have large number of members of parliament, legislators belonging to the backward communities, most backward communities, Dalits, tribals. So BJP is not that BJP that opposition painted it once And in Tamil Nadu, they continue to do it because the DMK thinks this is how people will think. Sir, but even people have realized in Tamil Nadu, simply blaming Brahmins is because today the problems are involving the so-called intermediate caste and the Dalits. Where do the Brahmins figure in all this? See, at a time when Congress party, the old Congress party that fought for the freedom of this country, when it was dominated by lawyers all belonging to Brahmin community, that's how Justice Party came. I mean, they felt that all the top slots were filled by people who took the benefit of education. But today, Tamil Nadu, so many things have happened. Today, the problem is corruption. And the corruption is right at the door of people who claim themselves to be Dravidian parties.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, Krishna. India is keyword. Republic TV wasn't allowed by Supreme Court. Yes, indeed, that is true. I think Republic was not allowed. They wanted, and they had to add the TV to be able to do that. Next question, please. Thank you, Savitri Subramanian, for your generous grant. Next one. Full Metal Heart wants to know, will it be clever for BJP to sit in opposition if in next year China and Taiwan go to war? But if BJP is in power at crisis, they must make villain out of the then PM and bring Yogi as PM. Your opinion?
Well, BJP is not scared of elections, or BJP is not scared of the challenges that it would face as the government that is giving leadership to India's growth story. So whether it is a problem with China or any other economic situation, we saw how COVID was handled. We saw how vaccine India conducted one of the world's largest immunization program. So I don't see, they should think of sitting in the opposition. I don't think so. That's the thinking. Rather, they want a bigger mandate, a larger mandate, a third time for the Prime Minister.
Next question, please. Pawan Kishore, thank you so much. For 𝗏𝗏𝘅 to win 2024, mathematically possible, but do you see any alliance on the ground voter chemistry among their cadres?
Sir, parliamentary elections are a mix of chemistry and arithmetic. Now, in the constituencies, if they succeed in putting up a candidate, BJP knows very well that it will have a tough time in those constituencies. So they may have to work out separate strategy for each of those constituencies where there is an agreement among opposition parties. But then there are other issues that will also play, particularly parliamentary elections. It's a question of if it's a vote against Prime Minister Modi, then it is a vote for whom. So for any successful opposition campaign, or to appear to be the real alternative to the BJP or the Prime Minister Modi, they need to fix three things, which I don't see happening right now, which is to get their narrative right and get a lot of attention on that narrative, which is not happening because each leader is talking different terms. And yet Uddhav Thackeray, of all people, saying on August 31st that, look, we rather August 30th, I think, he said, look, we are of different ideologies, no problem. We all have come together, accept that. But अब साथ आ गए वो बड़ी बात है. It doesn't matter. I mean, Sena version of Hindutva, Congress version of secularism.
What he's saying is they will follow coalition dharma, which is eat and let eat.
I mean, I was, dumbstruck actually that a political leader of Uddhav Thackeray's standing would come with such kind of statement saying that, look, it doesn't matter what we do, it doesn't matter, bas ekatte aa gaye, we have come to give you relief. So I do not see that.
Next question, please. Thank you so much, OTA Overlanding, for your generous grant. Samaniyar wants to know, we can't oppose dengue, mosquitoes, malaria or corona. We have to eradicate this. That's how we have to eradicate Sanatana. Rather opposing Sanatana, it should be eradicating Uday. Your take on this? This is what Mr. Udayanidhi Stalin said today, sir. Very despicable the way he said it. I think he wants to eliminate his mother too, because his mother is a very big devout person.
Sir, I think Udayanidhi is, if he talks too much, I think he's going to make such statements. I think he would, if he left to himself, he would like to produce films, make some money. I think other than that, politics is a difficult area for him, but then he is his father's son, so he feels that he will get a chance to be Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu someday. Well, good luck to him. But then, so far, even as a minister, he has not shown any exceptional interest in, trying to understand or pick up the threads of governance. I mean, forget taking over reins of governance. So one can see that kind of statement that is being made. They feel that, if you go on attacking BJP, you go on attacking, that will, but then that theory is not working, because you are seeing Annamalai's Padyatra, you are seeing the traction it is getting, and how painstakingly Annamalai is following the old BJP model of going into a state where you have a zero support and then gradually built up. That's how BJP grew in many states. And go and explain what BJP stands for, and letting people know, look, this may be the propaganda against us, but this is what we represent. And that's what Annamalai is doing there. That's why he's getting tractions.
Last question, please. Thank you. OTA overlanding. Is it possible that Modi ji can announce national elections along with states?
Well, I've answered before. I do not see an early elections. I do not see a curtailment of the present term of the Lok Sabha.
Thank you so much, Shekhar-ji. Then that brings us to a close of today's session. Viewers, we are really, really thrilled that you supported us with such gusto and enthusiasm. We had a very good audience today. And now let us round it off by listening to Shekhar-ji's theme music that will bring this program to a close. Namaskar, Shekhar-ji, and we'll see you again on Wednesday.
Thank you. Thank you very much.